talking with mayoral candidate Chris Simpson on the Democratic side. Nita in the studio, Frank in the basement, and phone lines will be open the entire time. The phone lines are always going to be open when we talk to the mayoral candidates. Chris, how you doing?
I'm good, Blaine. How you doing?
Running for mayor.
Yeah.
All right, who's Chris Simpson?
Chris Simpson's been here for 40 years. Chris Simpson's your neighbor. I was looking at the people that are running, and I just didn't see anybody that represented me. They got all these great ideas. Frederick doesn't have this. Frederick doesn't have that. I like what Frederick has. We can improve it. We can do a few more things with it. But I think it's going in the right direction. I don't know how to put 33 years my family's been here, had a business. I've watched Frederick. We've seen the mall. You're same age roughly. $20, you go to the mall when you're a kid. You saw a movie. You got an ice cream cone at Friendly's. You spent the rest of the money and time out. It was great. There was never an issue. West End now, not so much. That's what really got me motivated in looking at this is after 8 o'clock when it gets dark, it's not really so much like it used to be. You can't walk your dog. People don't walk to your store anymore. I've watched stores next to me have restaurants. They have to close early because there's just no traffic. Saw an opportunity where I think I can make a difference. I can at least bring attention to things that I think are important and should be improved in Frederick.
You support the revitalization of the Fredericktown Fredericktown Mall.
Yeah, that's the anchor.
You said that the reason why you ran was that the two candidates that were filed at the time didn't represent you. Now, you're in the Democratic primary. What did you feel that was not in either one of those candidates that didn't represent Chris Simpson?
I really felt like they were reaching out beyond Frederick. It wasn't. I've seen revitalization of 40, but that's just. I don't know. I didn't see anybody talk about the crime. I didn't see anybody talk about things that are going on that I thought was a real simple thing. Lack of police presence. I really want to see some more officers there. I've met with Chief Dine. He explained some things to me, what would need to happen, what they would need. Getting some ideas from him. We were pushing around the substation idea. And he explained to me that if you do something like that, you're basically taking officers out of cars. You're putting them in an office. It's not really what you want. So I'm looking for ideas where can we get officers on bikes? I mean, there's enough petty crime, accidents, things going on out on 40 on both sides, Hillcrest and on Waverly. I think they would be busy enough filing in reports and whatever they got to do that it would make a great improvement. We just saw them. Just, if I go out the store and yell help, someone might actually hear me.
All right. Now, You're running for mayor on the Democratic side against Jennifer Doherty and Jason Judd. I actually did a sound-off commentary. What do you say to those folks who say, you know what, you ain't got no shot?
I don't think they have touched what's going on in the public. I really do. You mentioned my father the other day. I never even thought about that. He's been politicking for me for 65 years.
Oh, Big George.
Yep. I mean, when you mentioned that the other day, Blaine, it was – I have to say, if I shed a tear, I haven't done that since Dad died. There was something about it that didn't occur to me that he had respect. I'll get a little bit of that. I'm going to have to earn the rest, but if I go in and I'm Big George's son, at least I've got a shoe and they'll listen to me. They'll give me an opportunity to talk, maybe listen. Okay, what do you stand for? You're Big George's son, but you're not him. What exactly can you do for me?
Don't take it to heart. They said the same thing about me when I first ran.
Yeah.
Well, when I heard Chris Simpson announced for mayor, I didn't know who Chris was. And someone said, well, he has the Golden Mile Liquors. I said, well, that's got to be Big George's son.
Right.
So I'm one of those old souls at the age of 38. I know all the old people in town.
Is that why you know me? But I mean, I just met Chris.
Didn't know Chris at all, but I did know his father and his father.
Well, and I just met him for the very first time, and I knew that he was running because his uncle, who does some taping down for us at Evangelical Lutheran Church, told me that his nephew was running. So, I mean, if he's anything like his uncle, he's got to be a good guy.
All right, well, tell us more. Mayor's of the most important position it is.
Yes, it is.
It's full-time. You're running the daily functions, all the directors, they report to you.
Right.
What type of mayor are you going to be? What are some of the things that you're going to want to accomplish? And again, I just saw the first phone call go off. 301-694-9363 is the phone number. Go ahead, Chris.
Obviously, it's a 24/7 job. I love that. Since I got involved in this 2 weeks, it's like riding a roller coaster. I'm so energized, looking forward to what I think I can do, what I can help people. It's just been amazing.
Are you a hands-on manager, or are you a delegator, or are you a jumper and shouter?
I don't micromanage. I really want to get involved. I think you find the right people for the right job, someone that you have confidence in. If they tell you something or they tell you they can do something, go do it. Come back when you're done. What's the next project? You got to find people that are confident and competent in what they do. Frederick City seems to be going in the right direction. It doesn't have to be a whole big, firing and hiring and all that kind of stuff. They're going good. Just meet them, introduce yourself. You've done a good job. Keep doing it. Keep going the direction you're going in.
All right, mayoral candidates are a little bit different. I'd say we treat our automatic candidates a little nicer when we interview them here.
I get to be
We were squishy.
Let's talk about a project and what you want to accomplish, and then Anita and I will cross-examine and dissect it. So what would be one of your initiatives if elected mayor?
Initially, crime on 40.
Okay, crime on 40.
Yes.
All right, so you're going to launch a campaign to reduce the crime rate. What are some of those initiatives going to be? Apparently, you've either reached out to the chief or bumped into him. You've had a discussion. What is Mayor Simpson going to do to curb crime on 40?
I want more law enforcement out here on both sides, Hillcrest and on Waverly and Willow Tree and all that. Whatever the word is. If substation's not the right word.
Well, the chief does not support a substation.
No, not at all. A water closet, information booth, something where officers are in and out. I talked to one former officer. She said if she's had someplace where she could go in and change something or like a little home area that's out here.
Well, one of the suggestions that I sent to the current mayor was utilizing one of the two buildings out on the Hargett Farm Park.
Right.
I mean, I've offered to go supervise community service people to go in and paint it and clean it up. It can't get much cheaper than taking the guys out of the jail to work on it and buy paint.
I've talked to them all, and they're looking to the option of just donating some sort of office space. Having a couple police cars there and a bunch of guys on bikes that are back and forth.
Whether we want to call it a West End barracks, whether we want to call it a substation.
Yeah, whatever word
whatever
it is.
you want to call it.
A presence.
You're basically saying, I know that the chief apparently is not in favor of it, but Mayor Simpson's going to say, Chief, the residents of the Route 40 want it.
Right.
I want it as mayor. We're having it. Give it whatever name you was. It's going to be bricks and mortar.
Well, the chief has said he'd be willing to take a division out of the downtown and move the whole division. But in the short term, why not just put a little bit out of Hargett?
Right now, then that's the other issue brought up. Where are you going to bring them from?
Is this location going to be 24/7? Or is it going to be open at nighttime only?
It can't be a
or
lockup.
daytime?
That's obvious. There is no more lockup except for the Marcy's Choice.
Because when I was there, I always said, you can have this, but it can't be like business hours. I mean, it's got to either be 24/7, or it's got to be,
Well, it only you agree. It only needs to be a presence. It doesn't have to be a great big spot.
Right.
It could be one room with a bathroom and.
But somebody should always be there.
Sure.
Right. A big badge on the side of the mall that says, "Hey, there are police here. There's law enforcement nearby somewhere."
Well, now there's one thing that I do want to make a distinction on, and Blaine and I have talked about this on the show, and of course when he was off at a taxicab meeting, I had the chief in one time. You can go to crimereports.com now.
Right. Yeah,
in the
I saw
city,
that.
and if you look at this side of Route 40, there's a lot of parking violations and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You look at another part of the city on the other side, you really over on Key Parkway, you get a whole different set of results.
We see the paper. We were hearing the news.
Because
Waverly
we have
Drive.
people who walk in Hillcrest all the time. 10 o'clock at night, they're out walking their dogs.
So we got a substation or whatever you want to call it. What else?
Right.
What other tools does the police need?
I don't know. That's when I think the bikes, he explained the cars are now portable offices. Every police car has a computer in it. It's high tech. They don't need a desk. They don't have to go at the end of the shift and report. Just something out here where we can get protected. The businesses can come up. We actually have at our store, we hired security. He comes through every so many minutes and checks up on people when we're closing. He's there for us. It shouldn't have to be like that.
What about crime cameras? They have them in Baltimore, one of the boxes that sit up there. Do these apartment buildings in certain areas on 40, do they need crime box cameras for surveillance?
Can I get into cost? How are we going to pay for it? And that's
asking.
I don't know. We got to figure out.
If we're going to curb crime, we just need a plan to do so. I mean,
well, in some of the apartment buildings, you think that the apartment owners would want to put in those boxes over on the other side.
Do we say to the apartment owners, you know what? Your apartment complex is generating a lot of crime.
Got to do something about it.
You need to help pony up because you're putting a lot of services on the rest of the city.
There's another thing that a couple people are working on too, and that is homeowners associations. And part of this, not all of Hillcrest has homeowners associations. My street does not, but 2 streets over you could. But getting a handle on who is managing the homeowners associations is a big concern because nobody has a list of who's doing it.
For it.
And with the eye of looking at, Anita Stoops managing this complex, and she has more crime coming out of hers than Blaine Young managing somebody else. Sure. Is there a reason?
Right.
Well, you bring up another point. I mean, we charge people for false alarms.
Yep.
So many false alarms go off, they get a bill. Yep. Do we say, you know what, Anita, you've got this apartment complex. If you go over 10 calls for service, every call after that, you as the owner of the complex are paying X amount because whatever you're doing there, you can't figure it out, and you're putting a drain on the west.
You're overutilizing the police department.
If that's what it takes, then yes.